Welcome to True Crime Fusion, where we uncover shocking stories of betrayal, deceit, and the darkest corners of human nature. Today, we delve into the devastating tale of the Khan family, a tragedy fueled by forbidden love, hidden truths, and ultimately, brutal murder. This is the story of 28-year-old Alia Khan, a seemingly devoted wife, and the shocking secret that would lead to her husband, Tariq Khan's, violent death. The Khan family was well known in the quiet suburb of Houston, Texas, for their thriving restaurant business and tight-knit dynamic. Patriarch Imran Khan, 56, had built his halal eatery from the ground up and was revered in the local Muslim community for his generosity and dedication. His son, Tariq, 30, was the apple of his eye, a smart, ambitious man who had recently taken over the day-to-day management of the restaurant. Tariq's wife, Alia, was a homemaker known for her quiet demeanor and striking beauty. Imran, Tariq, and Alia shared a large, elegant house in a gated community. To neighbors, they seemed like the perfect family, often hosting community dinners and charity events. Imran was known for his wise counsel, often mediating disputes within the community. Tariq, meanwhile, was a natural leader with an undeniable charm. Alia appeared to be the dutiful daughter-in-law, always gracious and kind, but behind closed doors, the Khan household was far from harmonious. Tariq had been struggling to keep the restaurant afloat amid rising competition and labor shortages. The stress strained his marriage to Alia, and whispers of their arguments often reached curious ears in the community. Alia confided in no one, but her isolation grew more apparent with each passing day. Imran, observant as always, began spending more time with Alia under the guise of offering support. At first, his intentions seemed innocent, checking in on her well-being and encouraging her to focus on her hobbies. But their interactions grew increasingly intimate. While Tariq worked long hours at the restaurant, Imran and Alia shared quiet moments in the garden, private conversations that lasted late into the night, and glances that lingered just a little too long. Over time, the unthinkable happened. Alia and her father-in-law began an illicit affair. For Alia, it was a dangerous escape from her loneliness, while for Imran, it was a reckless indulgence of forbidden desires. The pair maintained their facade in public, but their secret moments grew bolder. One fateful evening in June 2022, the fragile balance they had maintained began to unravel. Tariq came home earlier than expected and found Imran and Alia sitting closely on the living room sofa. While nothing incriminating occurred in that moment, Tariq's instincts told him something wasn't right. Later that night, he confronted Alia, but she dismissed his suspicions as paranoia, blaming the stress of work for his insecurity. Tariq reluctantly let it go for now, but Tariq's suspicions deepened over the next few weeks. He noticed Alia's phone was always locked. Her demeanor shifted when Imran entered the room, and Imran himself seemed uncharacteristically attentive to her. Tariq began quietly investigating, questioning Alia's whereabouts and growing increasingly tense. On the morning of July 7, 2022, Tariq left the house for what seemed like a routine day at the restaurant. Hours later, he was found dead in the family's garage, his body battered and lifeless. Blood pooled beneath him, and a wrench from the car's toolbox lay a few feet away, coated with crimson. The family home, once a place of comfort, had become the site of a brutal and shocking murder. The discovery of Tariq Khan's lifeless body sent shockwaves through the community. What had appeared to be a tightly knit family now lay under the harsh glare of police scrutiny. The crime scene was chaotic. Overturned chairs in the garage hinted at a struggle, and the wrench, clearly the murder weapon, bore no discernible fingerprints. The family's facade of unity had crumbled, and the question on everyone's lips was, who killed Tariq? Detective Marsha Lopez, a seasoned investigator with the Houston Police Department, took charge of the case. Known for her no-nonsense approach, Detective Lopez began her investigation with the family. She started by questioning Alia, who appeared distraught but composed. "Alia, can you walk me through your day?" Lopez asked gently, her pen poised over her notepad. Alia described a routine morning, claiming she had been in the kitchen preparing lunch when she heard a loud thud from the garage. "I ran out and I found him like that," she sobbed, her eyes brimming with tears. Imran, seated silently beside her, interjected, "Tariq had no enemies. He was loved by everyone. This has to be some random act of violence. His voice, though steady, carried a subtle edge, as if willing the detective to believe him. Lopez, however, was not one to take statements at face value. She noted Imran's calm demeanor, a stark contrast to Aliya's visibly shaken state. "Did you notice anything unusual leading up to today?" she asked, scanning their expressions. Imran shook his head firmly, but Aliya hesitated. "Tariq, he had been stressed lately," she admitted, avoiding eye contact. The restaurant was struggling, and he wasn't himself. Detective Lopez then turned her attention to the crime scene. The lack of fingerprints on the wrench struck her as odd. It suggested premeditation, someone who knew how to cover their tracks. Forensic investigators scoured the garage, finding faint shoe prints near the body that didn't match Tariq's size or style. As the investigation continued, Lopez began canvassing the neighborhood. A neighbor, Mrs. Farah Ahmed, mentioned hearing a heated argument in the Khan household the previous evening. "I couldn't make out the words," Farah said, "but it sounded intense. A man's voice, deep, angry, and a woman shouting back." This new detail painted a picture of domestic turmoil. Lopez returned to the Khan home, this time focusing on Imran. When questioned further, he seemed defensive, deflecting the conversation toward Tariq's business troubles. "Tariq had so much on his plate," Imran said. "Maybe someone at the restaurant had it out for him. A disgruntled employee, perhaps." But Lopez was unconvinced. The garage murder scene suggested intimacy. The killer was close enough to overpower Tariq and brutalize him in his own home. Random violence seemed unlikely. Over the next few days, detectives delved into the Khans' personal lives. Tariq's phone revealed cryptic texts sent to an unknown number labeled Z. One message read, "We need to talk. I know everything." Another, sent just hours before his death, read, "You can't keep this up, or it'll ruin all of us." Lopez tracked down the number, which led to a burner phone. Though the user was untraceable, the timing of the messages aligned perfectly with Tariq's growing suspicions about his wife and father. Forensic analysis uncovered another damning detail, traces of Aliya's DNA on the wrench, raising questions about her involvement. When confronted, Aliya broke down, claiming she had touched the wrench earlier in the day while organizing the garage. "I didn't kill him," she cried. "I swear." But as tensions mounted, Detective Lopez began to suspect there was more to this case than met the eye. Both Aliya and Imran seemed to be holding something back, and their stories, though outwardly consistent, felt rehearsed. The turning point came when police accessed the home's security cameras. Imran claimed they hadn't worked in months, but the team found that the footage from the previous week had been intentionally deleted. Lopez knew that whoever killed Tariq was trying to erase their tracks, and they might still be inside the house. Detective Lopez's instincts told her she was circling the truth, but she needed more concrete evidence. The deleted security footage loomed large in her mind, raising the possibility that someone within the Khan household was actively sabotaging the investigation. On July 10th, forensic technicians managed to partially recover fragments of the deleted footage. What they uncovered would become the cornerstone of the case. One recovered clip showed a confrontation in the garage just the day before Tariq's death. Imran and Aliya appeared to be arguing, their faces tense and voices raised, though the footage had no audio. At one point, Imran stepped closer to Aliya, gripping her arm in what appeared to be an aggressive gesture. A third figure briefly entered the frame. It was Tariq. The video cut off abruptly as the argument escalated. This new evidence put the family dynamics under a harsher light. Lopez returned to question Aliya, this time armed with the footage. "Aliya, we found part of the deleted footage," she said, sliding still images across the table. "You and Imran were arguing in the garage. Tariq walked in. What happened next?" Aliya froze, her hands trembling as she stared at the pictures. It wasn't what it looks like," she stammered. "We were just talking about some family issues." Tariq misunderstood. Things got heated. "Why delete the footage?" Lopez pressed. "And why are there traces of your DNA on the murder weapon?" Aliya broke into tears. "I didn't kill Tariq. Yes, I argued with Imran, but it wasn't about what you think. Tariq overheard something personal, and he accused me of being disloyal. What was the argument about? Lopez asked, leaning in. Aliyah hesitated, then whispered, Imran had been supportive of me during a rough time. Tariq thought it was something more. Lopez narrowed her eyes. Was it something more? Aliyah? Aliyah didn't answer, her silence speaking volumes. Meanwhile, Detective Lopez pursued another angle. She subpoenaed financial records for the Khan family, hoping to uncover more clues. What she found was surprising. Tariq had withdrawn a substantial sum of cash, $10,000, from the restaurant's business account just a week before his death. There was no explanation for the transaction, but it raised suspicions about whether Tariq had been planning to confront someone or pay for damaging information. Imran was next on Lopez's list. When confronted with the security footage, he maintained his calm facade. I argued with Aliyah that day, he admitted, but it was about family matters. Tariq misinterpreted things. He always jumped to conclusions. Did you have feelings for Aliyah? Lopez asked bluntly. Imran's composure faltered for a split second before he regained his footing. I cared for her as my daughter-in-law. Nothing more, he said firmly. But Lopez noticed the tightening of his jaw, the way he avoided her gaze. The investigation took a dramatic turn when a neighbor came forward with new information. Mrs. Ahmed, who had earlier reported hearing arguments, now revealed that she had seen Imran leave the house late on the night of Tariq's murder, carrying what appeared to be a duffel bag. It was strange, Mrs. Ahmed said. He looked hurried, almost frantic. I didn't think much of it until I heard about Tariq's death. Detectives immediately secured a warrant to search Imran's car and office. In the trunk of his car, they found a duffel bag containing blood-stained gloves, a second wrench, and a burner phone. Forensic testing confirmed that the blood matched Tariq's DNA. When confronted with the damning evidence, Imran's demeanor changed entirely. Gone was the calm, confident patriarch. In its place was a man grasping for control. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, he muttered during questioning. You didn't mean for what to happen, Imran? Lopez asked, her voice steely. Imran sighed deeply, his shoulders slumping. Tariq found out, he said, about me and Aliyah. He threatened to go to the police, to expose us to the community. I tried to reason with him, but he wouldn't listen. Things got out of hand. Out of hand, Lopez repeated. You murdered your own son, Imran, over an affair. It wasn't supposed to happen, Imran said, tears streaming down his face. I panicked. Imran Khan's confession sent shockwaves through the Houston community, but the case was far from closed. While Imran admitted to killing his son, Detective Lopez wasn't convinced that he had acted alone. Too many questions remained unanswered. What role had Aliyah played? Was she a victim, a conspirator, or something in between? Under further questioning, Imran painted a grim picture. He described a confrontation on the day of Tariq's murder. Tariq had discovered incriminating messages between Imran and Aliyah, including photos that left no doubt about their affair. Furious, Tariq had demanded Imran leave the house and threatened to report the affair to both the police and the mosque. I begged him to reconsider, Imran said, his voice trembling. I told him it would destroy the family. He wouldn't listen. He said he didn't care. According to Imran, the argument escalated into a physical altercation in the garage. When Tariq lunged at him, Imran claimed he grabbed the nearest object, a wrench, and struck his son in self-defense. I didn't mean to kill him, Imran insisted. It was an accident. Lopez wasn't buying it. Self-defense doesn't explain why you deleted the security footage or why we found a burner phone in your car, she said. You planned to cover this up. Imran, admit it. Imran finally broke down. I panicked. I didn't know what else to do, he admitted. I thought if I erased the footage, no one would know what happened. I was protecting myself and Aliyah. With Imran's confession, Lopez turned her attention back to Aliyah. When confronted with the full extent of Imran's statements, Aliyah initially denied any involvement in Tariq's murder. I had nothing to do with this, she said tearfully. I never wanted any of this to happen, but inconsistencies in her story began to surface. Investigators discovered a deleted message from Alia's phone sent to Imran just hours before Tariq's death. The text read, "He knows. We have to do something before he ruins everything." When pressed, Alia claimed the message was taken out of context. "I didn't mean harm," she insisted. I didn't want Tariq to destroy the family. I thought Imran would talk to him, calm him down." However, Lopez wasn't convinced. Alia's fingerprints on the wrench, combined with her message to Imran, suggested she had been more involved than she let on. "Alia, you're not telling me the whole truth," Lopez said during their final interview. "If you want any chance at leniency, you need to come clean." Cornered, Alia broke. Through sobs, she admitted to helping Imran delete the security footage and hide evidence after the murder. "I was scared," she confessed. "I didn't kill Tariq, but I didn't stop it either. Imran said it was an accident, and I believed him." Armed with both confessions, Detective Lopez pieced together the full story. Tariq had uncovered his father's affair with Alia and confronted them. In a fit of rage and desperation, Imran killed Tariq in the garage. Alia, fearing the fallout, helped him cover up the crime, believing it was the only way to protect herself. On July 15, 2022, both Imran and Alia were arrested. Imran was charged with second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and obstruction of justice. Alia faced charges of being an accessory after the fact and obstruction. During the trial, prosecutors painted Imran as a man consumed by forbidden desires and willing to kill his own son to protect his secrets. Alia was portrayed as complicit, though her defense argued she had acted under duress. The recovered footage, forensic evidence, and damning text messages left little room for doubt. On December 3, 2022, Imran Khan was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Alia, meanwhile, received a reduced sentence of 5 years for her role in the cover-up, with eligibility for parole after 2. The case left the Houston community reeling. The Khan family, once a symbol of respectability and success, had been shattered by betrayal, deceit, and murder. Neighbors who had once admired Imran and Alia now spoke of them in hushed tones, their fall from grace serving as a stark reminder of how secrets can destroy lives.